you know. Because at first she's like, oh, hey, how's your job? I'm like, about to lose my job already because, like, the first day is already a mess. What do I... Hey, so while I'm editing, there's some parts that I will tell you in the story that, but anyway. So the first part was when, me and S, best friend, we were like looking for jobs for me basically to work at. He recommended Subway, which, I wasn't really feeling about, working at a restaurant or whatever. But, you know, um, he's like, whatever job you'll find whatever. Hang up, whatever. So, and mind you, I was making money for a trip that, now I was planning on going to. After, I was talking with her about, the vacation of grandparents and whatnot. As I looked at my piggy bank, didn't have enough money, so that's why I was making the money for the trip, whatnot. So, go to my mom, tell her that, hey, find a job, that I work on Quick Trip. We can go there, see if I can apply for it. She's like, alright, cool, whatnot. Next day, go over there, I had interviews at Publix, basically about first it was Quick Trip, then it was Publix. Basically had an interview with it about, how many hours I'm gonna work, what days I'll work, and, what shifts I'll come, stuff like that. Had an interview, nice interview. Then we leave, and that was that. So, that was that part. A day later, okay? They still haven't called me, okay? Quick Trip, Publix, they still haven't called me. Honestly, to this day, they still haven't called me to, like, oh, hey, we want to give you this opportunity to give a job. Like, no, they haven't called me. They haven't called me, they haven't contacted or nothing. They're just like, they haven't, called me, whatever. So, then my mom recommends, oh, maybe you should work with your dad. And I'm like, Because here's the thing. I didn't want to work with him because my dad had, like, his history of how he treats his employees. Like, I remember my half-brother, Joshua, my bad I mentioned that. Like, he just quit. He just quit because of him. And, like, he just quit because of how he treats employees and all that other stuff. And he fired the manager one time because he owns his places. So, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I should be... I don't know if I want to work for him. But, of course, I had no choice but to call him. At first, I wasn't going to call him. But then, next thing you know, boom, I'm on the phone with him. I'm like, oh, hey, I think... What if I try to work for you and all that stuff? And of course, he was surprised. But here's the thing. And what surprised me was, boom, he gave me the job just like that. I'm like, oh, alright, cool, got me a job. So, hang up the phone. And I told my mom, like, oh, hey, I got the job. And she got excited, like, oh, you did? Where? Where'd you get the job? Did they call you? I'm like, yeah, at my dad's. I work for Dad. And she's like, oh, you work for him. So you had to call him. I'm like, Mom, I have no choice. They didn't call me. They didn't contact me. They didn't, like, give me a call or nothing. So I had no choice but to work for him, basically. Which was a big mistake. Even though I felt like I had to work for him. So, the weekend comes. Because he said that, oh, hey, you can work for the weekend and all that stuff. So, the weekend comes. And, I'm telling my sister Nyla, oh, hey, I got this job. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's great. Or whatnot. And then, then around the day the job comes, I'm telling S, like, hey, I finally got the job. He's like, alright, cool. And apparently, I told him later I work for dads and yada yada. Anyway, so I thought, oh, okay, cool. He's gonna, take me out for the business. He's gonna like show me what happened in his business, and I'm gonna work at the business, right? That did not happen. So apparently, he wanted me to work somewhere around the house. He wanted me to clean around the house, basically. Which I thought, like, oh, I'm gonna work for the business. I'm gonna do this, do that at his job. That did not happen. I thought that did not happen. Okay, so he said, he's showing me around what to do around the kitchen and all this stuff. Like, hey, do this, do that, and and he leaves. I'm like, wait, aren't you gonna like show me how to, do this stuff? Oh, nah, you got it. You got it. Like, it's just the house. You got, I'm like, alright. Because it was this vent, okay? This vent that I didn't use before. So, I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna do this. This is working at home. What can be so bad about it? Things can really go bad when also working at home as well. Why? Let me explain, okay? So, it was this dusty vent, okay, that I had to do. So I'm trying to dust this vent, okay, and then my mom walks in and she notices that I'm not doing something right, I guess. And she's like, that's not how you clean the dusty vent. And I'm like, well, how do you clean it? Because at first she wasn't going to help me, but then all of a sudden she ended up helping me do this when my dad was supposed to show me how to do this. Like, yeah. So, I'm trying to clean it. She's like, listen, you're supposed to take this out, okay, and put it in the dish. So I'm like, alright, okay. Take it out, put it in the dish. And I'm like scrubbing it. I'm like scrubbing it, and let me tell you, this was the first day on the job, okay? And this first day was an entire mess, bro. An entire mess. Because let me tell you, it was just too much stuff going on. I'm trying to scrub, because I'm done with the microwave. I did that. But I'm trying to scrub the dust, the vent, and basically it was too hard to get out. And then next thing you know, I see red stuff on the rag. And I'm like, what is this red stuff? I look at my finger. My finger has been cut by this vent. It has been literally been cut. It's like the vent just stabbed me because I wasn't scrubbing him right or giving it a bath right, okay? Or wasn't cleaning itself, basically. So I get the paper towel, of course, because I'm bleeding. And then I'm holding it. And my mom was like, what just happened? I'm like, basically, I cut myself by trying to scrub this vent. And it's like a whole shouting match. My mom calls my dad. Why don't you show him how to do this? He cutting himself and all this stuff. I can't do this. And here's the thing. My dad likes to make excuses, okay? He likes to make excuses. So he was like, oh, yeah, I don't remember what he said, but he said something about that he has to do this, do that, and other stuff. So I'm in the restroom, talking with Nat. I'm like, listen, so far this job ain't doing so good. So far. And she's like, listen, just hang in there, Because at first she's like, oh, hey, how's your job? I'm like, about to lose my job already because, the first day is already a mess. What do I expect? And she thought I was working at the business. No, I'm working here at home, okay? I'm working here at home. So she's like, just hang in there. And I'm like, all right, hang in there. So I get out the restroom. She's like, my mom was like, what were you doing in the restroom? I'm like, I was using it when I was calling my sister. Like, come on now. For advice, I guess. So she's fussing about him making excuses and all this. And she's like, listen, just try to get the stuff out the fridge. And I'm like, listen, you know what? This job better be worth it. Okay? So enough of that first day, because the first day was a mess. Moving on to the second day. I'm cleaning his room, cleaning a little bit of his bathroom, which didn't clean all of it because it was, nasty. It was infested. It felt like STDs were just laying around in that room, so I didn't clean the whole bathroom up. So basically, I get on the phone with Dad. He's on the truck or whatever, and I'm talking with him. So basically, I'm letting him know that I did this, did that, all that. I'm like, all right, cool. And basically, I told him that, my mom that I was confronting him about what my mom said to him. And he goes, oh, well, she needs to learn how to show you how to do it and all this stuff. And said some slick stuff to me, whatnot. And basically, you know how people on the phone be, like, just talking? You know, like, hey, like, alright, hey, cool, alright, it's fine. Bitch ass motherfucker. You know. But I didn't really say that. I was like, jerk. Jerk. But that's how I hung up the phone. And I go to... I'm sorry. So, I go to my mom, okay? And she's like, who's out on the phone? Like, that's my dad. And basically, he told me that he was going to go check on the place tomorrow to see how it turned out. And my mom didn't care. She was so blunt about it. She didn't care. She's like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Okay, I really don't. Just, go on. Check it. I don't care. I don't give not one, not two, not three fucks at all. Okay? So, then Sunday came. He comes back home, right? And he's looking through, like checking through. And he's like, alright, you did okay, I guess. And, so. And I'm like, alright, cool. He didn't really comment on nothing, but yeah. So, then next morning, I see money on the counter. And I didn't know it was for me or it was for my mom. Mom was like, that's for you. I'm like, are you sure? I call my dad later on. He's like, oh yeah, the money's for you. I'm like, oh. Alright. So I get super excited. I get super excited, bro. I'm like, what? I got some money, bro. I got money. I'm counting up the money, right? I'm counting up. It was like 200. It was like, because I thought it was 20,000. Because I count the money wrong sometimes. We all do. Shut up. But, listen. I'm counting on this money. I'm like, yeah, I got money. I got $20,000. Like, just doing a little happy dance and whatnot. And my mom's looking like, what is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, listen, I got $20,000. She's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. I'm like, whatever, don't care. I got some money. Woo! Just screaming. Coming to find out, I only had $200. I am so pathetic. And then I text my mom, like, listen, I got $200, but I don't care. That's still a lot of money. So, I'm calling S now, my best friend, and, I've shown him, like, all this money I got from the job. And then, all that stuff. And he's playing music in the background, too. So we were jamming to that. Because here's the thing, like, listen, did I want the job? No. But I felt like I needed to. which is the reason why I didn't quit. But but I'm gonna get to that. Get into that. So I'm cleaning the glass door. Okay, cleaning the glass door. And my mom was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm cleaning the glass doors, what he said to do." And she's like, "That's not how you clean the glass door." Because I'm using, like, bleach and a rag and all this stuff. Just, I don't... Basically, I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Because obviously, my dad didn't really, show me what to do. Or basically tell me what Kleenex to use, obviously, basically. And then, my mom, she apologizes. She's like, "Oh, I'm just rough on you." And, at the end of the day, he should have, showed you how to do all this stuff. And, blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, that's basically it from that scene. Okay. I call my dad, right? And basically, I talked to him about, different stuff like vacation, the meet shop he's planning, and, career-wise. And basically, I go into basically saying about why did you blame my mom for your sickness. Because just letting you know, he kind of has this, sickness. Diabetes. So, he's like, "Oh, I didn't blame anybody." And he's making excuses again, like, I had projects to do, I had to do this, I had to do that, and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you always have projects to do. And the fact that he said that, "Oh, I didn't blame nobody, I'm trying to, not be stressed out, I'm trying to chill." But it's like, you kind of blamed her for your sickness, and it's like, you kind of, like, didn't take responsibility, and it's like, oh, like, it's not my fault, even though I did this, It's like, why is you lying? Goodbye. Bye, Felicia. Oh, wait, I forgot. I don't know. But, so I'm like, "Yep, you know what, thank you for this job, thank you for this opportunity, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go." And he's like, "What do you mean you gotta go?" I'm like, I'm gonna have to text you on what I mean, basically. And he's like, "Alright, cool." I thought I heard something. So he's like, "Alright, cool, you can text me." Because I called him times before, and I don't want to call him again. So, hang up the phone. And I text him this long email, this long text message about why I quit and all this stuff. And the thing was, I wasn't trying to be harsh. I wasn't trying to be rude or anything. I'm like, "Listen, you know what? This is the reason why I quit, because of all the excuses and all this and everything else." And he's like, "Alright." And then, he fired me. So, here's the thing. I didn't get fired and then just quit. I quit the job first, and then he fired me, basically. And then my mom found out, of course, and because he go. And then she's like, "You quit your job?" I'm like, "Yeah, basically." She's like, "Are you serious? You quit?" And mind you, I only been working for this job for like 2 weeks. For like 2.5 weeks. It was like 2 weeks and almost 3 weeks. But it was literally just working for them for 2 weeks. So, and I mean, she didn't blame me for quitting, but, So, it's at the main event. I'm at the main event, and I'm with S, And he's asking me, "Oh, hey, so how's the job going?" And I'm like, "Yeah, see, about that. And he's like, "It's fucked up, isn't it?" I'm like, "Well, Well, yes, it is. Like I'm not gonna hesitate. I'm not gonna sugarcoat and hesitate about what happened for my last summer job. Like, no. So I'm like, it is. But see, the thing is, I quit. And he's like, oh, you quit. And he's thinking, why did you have to work with him? I'm like, because listen, I didn't have any other choice. I had to work for him. They didn't call me. Like, Publix didn't. Quick Trip didn't. You know, none of those companies called me to be like, oh, hey, do you want to get a job? Do you want to apply? Like, no. Y'all, it's 24 minutes. Let me hurry up. So, after that, we get our fries. I'm like, oh, awesome fries today. Like, I thought that they were, like, out of the meal or whatever. Like, or the bill was going to be a lot. So I'm like, oh, the bill is not that long. I was like, oh, what a good surprise. So, I call my sister Nat, right? And then I'm telling her about the job and everything else. And she's like, oh, for real? You quit? I'm like, yeah. And basically, she's like, you know what? She kind of on the money. Like, she had enough money. I'm like, oh, that's how much money I have for the trip or whatever. So, I marked the calendar. Because basically the trip was canceled for the summer. Because the mom didn't have enough money for the trip either. Because she was trying. So, here's where this all ends, okay? As I'm wrapping this up, alright? So, it's months later and it's now November, alright? As I was, counting down the calendar. And then basically, we're picking her up. We're on our way to the bus stop to pick Nat up from, her going on the bus from traveling from Indiana to Atlanta. Because that's where she currently lives right now in Indiana. So, we're picking her up. And then, I go help her, put her suitcase in the back and all this stuff. And then, we start hugging. And, it's this, like, cute little reunited moment. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I haven't seen you so long in person and all this other stuff. Because, we always talked on FaceTime, whatnot, or phone call, text, or whatever. So, of course, like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long in person, whatever. And then the funny part was that literally, like, the people in the back, they were like, if y'all don't hurry up already, like, and that's literally how my mom was, like, if y'all don't, okay, listen, enough, get in the car, whatever. So we get in the car, get back home, as we're helping her unpack her stuff, whatnot. And basically, she's wondering where, Dad is, and basically I told her that, he basically moved out, pretty much. Which, I might explain another story time, but anyway, listen, that's another story for another day. But anyways, so I told her that he moved out, and basically, and also the nerve he had to say, listen, the nerve that he had to say to basically me and my mom was that, oh, y'all go on vacation, all this stuff, just whatever. He don't like vacations too much, but whatever. He don't know how to relax a little. But anyways, so I'm telling him, like, look, it doesn't matter. I'm just glad you're here. I'm glad that you were able to come. And I'm glad that, look, we're going to use our money from that we earned to, have at least the best with it. You know what I mean? So, we basically just, like, used it to basically, because it was my mom's birthday. So we, like, went out for her birthday, to Red Lobster, the mall. And then we drove, as we were playing music, as we were, like, singing to loud music or whatnot. And, that was that. So, but yeah, that's it. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share, posting why I always gotta say post, yeah. Turn on your notifications, social media links in the description, all that jazz, y'all know the drill, blah blah blah, and yeah. This is your dude, Joseph, aka Joe T, signing out.